Satan is loosed from his restraint in the abyss. Those yielding to his seduction to sow on the same issue raced in Eden. The rightfulness o textui acute miritra longo, Kings, books of 171 name Regum Kings, in harmony with the Hebrew title, to the literal translation of the Septuagint title Renorum Kingdoms. Division into two books in the Septuagint became expedient, because the Greek translation with vowels required almost twice as much space as did Hebrew, in which no vowels were used until the second half of the first millennium of the Common Era. The division between 2 Samuel and 1 Kings has not always been at the same place in their Greek versions. Lucian, for one, in his recension of the Septuagint, made the division so that 1 Kings commenced with what is 1 Kings 2. 12 in our present-day Bibles. Writing of the books. Although the name of the writer of the books of Kings is not given in the two accounts, scriptural indications and Jewish tradition point to Jeremiah. Many Hebrew words a concise summary of the history of both the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel from the last days of David until the death of Jehoshaphat. Originally the first book of Kings was part of one scroll with 2 Kings. Solomon is known for outstanding wisdom at the start of his rule, but he ends up in apostasy. Nathan, by decisive action, blocks Adonijah's attempt to be king in Israel. Solomon is enthroned 1. 5. 2. 12 Asked by Jehovah what he desires, Solomon requests wisdom. He is additionally granted riches and glory. 3. 5-15 Divinely given wisdom is evident in Solomon's handling of the case of two prostitutes, each claiming to be the mother of the same baby boy. 3. 16-28 King Solomon and Israel under his rule prosper. The king's unparalleled wisdom is world famous. 4. 1-34. 10. 14-29 Solomon builds Jehovah's temple and later a palace complex. Then all the older men of Israel gather for the inauguration. 5. 1. 8. 66 Jehovah sanctifies the temple, assures Solomon of permanence of the royal line, but warns against unfaithfulness. 9. 1-9 The Queen of Sheba comes to see Solomon's wisdom and prosperity for herself. 10. 1-13 In old age, Solomon is influenced by his many foreign wives and goes after foreign gods. 11. 1-8 The nation is split in two. Calf worship is instituted to prevent those in the northern kingdom from going up to Jerusalem. Because of Solomon's apostasy, Jehovah foretells division of the nation. 11. 11-13 After Solomon's death, his son Rehoboam threatens to impose a heavy yoke on the people. 10 tribes revolt and make Jeroboam king. 12. 1-20 Jeroboam establishes worship of golden calves in the northern kingdom to prevent his subjects from going to Jerusalem for worship and possibly wanting to reunite the kingdom. 12. 26-33 The southern kingdom, Judah, has both good kings and bad ones. Rehoboam and Abijam after him allow detestable false worship. 14. 21-24. 15. 1-3 Abijam's son Asa and his son Jehoshaphat actively promote true worship. 15. 9-15. 22. 41-43 The northern kingdom, Israel, is marred by power struggles, assassinations, and idolatry. Jeroboam's son Nadab becomes king. Baasha assassinates him and seizes the throne. 15. 25-30 Baasha's son Elah succeeds to the throne and is assassinated by Zimri. Zimri commits suicide when facing defeat by Omri. 16. 6-20 Omri's victory leads to civil war. Omri finally triumphs, becomes king, and later builds Samaria. His sins are even worse than those of early kings. 16. 21-28 Ahab becomes king and marries the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Sidonians. He introduces Baal worship into Israel. 16. 29-33 Wars between Judah and Israel end with an alliance. Wars take place between Jeroboam and both Rehoboam and Abijam. Baasha fights against Asa. 15. 6, 7, 16-22 Jehoshaphat makes an alliance with Ahab. 22. 1-4, 44 Jehoshaphat and Ahab battle together against Ramoth Gilead. Ahab is killed. 22. 29-40 Prophetic activity in Israel and Judah. Textoi acute miritra longo, Kings, books of 172 and expressions found in these two books appear elsewhere in the Bible only in Jeremiah's prophecy. The books of Kings and the book of Jeremiah complement each other. Events, as a rule, are briefly covered in one if they are fully described in the other. Absence of any mention of Jeremiah in the books of Kings, although he was a very prominent prophet, could be expected if Jeremiah was the writer, because his activities were detailed in the book bearing his name. The books of Kings tell of conditions in Jerusalem after the exile had begun, indicating that the writer had not been taken to Babylon, even as Jeremiah was not. J 40. 5, 6. Some scholars see in the books of Kings what they consider to be evidence of the work of more than one writer or compiler. However, except for variation, because of the sources used, it must be observed that the language, style, vocabulary, and grammar are uniform throughout. 1 Kings covers a period of about 129 years, commencing with the final days of King David, about 1040 BCE and running through to the death of Judean King Jehoshaphat in about 911 BCE 1 Car 22. 52 Kings begins with Ahaziah's reign c. 920 BCE and carries through to the end of the 37th year of Jehoiachin's exile, 580 BCE, a period of about 340 years. 2 Car continuation of the history of Judah and of Israel.